An analysis of new evidence that has surfaced into that Singapore Airlines flight which encountered major turbulence in May has found that the plane flew directly into a developing thunderstorm over central Myanmar when other flights diverted away from it.
Yeah, the extreme turbulence killed one passenger, injured dozens of others too. And now lawyers representing some of those injured say the new assessment of flight and satellite data is proof of human or mechanical failure. For more, retired pilot and former head of flight technical at Qantas, David Oliver, joins us. Good morning. This evidence shows that other passenger jets flew away from this storm. Why would they avoid it and this Singapore Airlines flight fly directly into it?
Yes, good morning, Nat. Pilots are trained to avoid thunderstorms by at least 10 nautical miles where possible. It's apparent from the radar traces that there were significant weather and thunderstorms in the area of the Singapore Airlines flight. The weather radar should have depicted the thunderstorm cells and given the pilots opportunity to deviate around it. It is possible that they may be overflying a cell, but again, that is something that pilots are trained to avoid at all costs because the thermal activity from a thunderstorm extends not only within the thunderstorm, but above and around it.
How much play does a pilot have if it obviously has a flight route? Can it divert? How far off can it divert, and how quickly can it do that to avoid a storm?
Well, there are procedures in place. Normally they would have to get an air traffic control clearance to deviate off their route, but in an emergency situation there are procedures that they can follow to deviate immediately if safety is involved. In this case, they may have been able to obtain an air traffic control clearance in an appropriate time, but even if they couldn't, they still should have been able to divert around the weather if they needed.
So didn't Singapore Airlines put out the statement that said it was clear air turbulence?
Yes, well, so that's what I've read in the reports and in the press. But if you look at the weather radar traces that have been published online, it is clearly apparent that there was a lot of weather activity in the area, and that should have been visible on the pilot's weather radar. So to say that it was clear air turbulence is, it's possible, but very, very unlikely, especially in that part of the world.
Well, that'll be looked into, but if there was a storm there and the airline's saying it was clear air turbulence, it appears that it directly contradicts it. Obviously, it will be investigated, but we really appreciate your insight, David.